Hey everyone, Brian Zane here alongside J Biggs, and as we are wont to do on these special The Big Four pay-per-views, we felt it was only appropriate to give our, semi-educated thoughts and predictions on what's going to happen. Because, if you see someone on YouTube talking about what's going to happen at a pay-per-view, you know you can trust their opinion, right? We're going to talk about Survivor Series coming up in a couple of days. Fantasy Warfare just got real. It's the most expensive video game commercial of all time. Right. And we're going to go match by match and talk about our thoughts on each match down the road. By the way, we are taping this before any possible pre-show matches are announced. Right. So if we miss any of those matches, sorry, at this point in the timeline, it doesn't exist. Let's start with the Cruiserweight Championship match. It's Brian Kendrick defending against Kalisto in an inter-brand matchup here. And the caveat is if Kalisto wins, not only does he win the championship, but the Cruiserweight division en masse goes to SmackDown. What are your thoughts on this match?
My thoughts are, I would say that it's pretty much set up that the Cruiserweights are going to stay on Raw. Kendrick will win. At least that's my thought. Maybe that's what they'll do.
Well, here, and that was my thought originally as well, because I didn't, I blacked out during that episode of SmackDown where Daniel Bryan said, oh, and P.S., the whole division's going to move. My original thought was, oh, well, both titles, Intercontinental and Cruiserweight, they're going to stay where they are, because you can't move the champion over and not have to move the whole division. But then I remembered, oh, Daniel Bryan said that thing. So, and then that, also the fact that 205 Live, the Cruiserweight exclusive show, is going to be taping on Tuesdays, same day as SmackDown. It only makes sense. It makes no sense to have the Cruiserweights do stuff on Monday, then fly them all over to whatever SmackDown's going and do it there. So, yes, I apologize for botching that in Who Wore It Better last week, talking about the Cruiserweight stuff. Didn't realize that's what he said. I blacked out. I'm sorry. I'm prone to do that sometimes on Mondays and Tuesdays. My prediction, and I think the general consensus is, Kalisto's going to win, and the Cruiserweights are all going to move en masse to SmackDown. From one singles championship to the next, The Miz will defend his newly won Intercontinental Championship against Sami Zayn. And again, it's inter-brand, so The Miz representing SmackDown, Sami Zayn on Raw. The title could move hands. I mean, if I'm correct in saying that Kalisto's going to win the Cruiserweight Championship, we could see the Intercontinental Championship move to Raw. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts right now, at least, are that that is very possible, especially with the talk, as we were just talking about possibly moving some superstars. Daniel Bryan went on record as saying he would like to trade The Miz. And even though The Miz is the Intercontinental Champion, and it kind of makes sense in my mind that what could happen here is Sami Zayn captures the belt. I would like to see Sami Zayn do that. I think, at least, that Miz could maybe chase him over on Raw for the title. That's at least my thought, that maybe that is something that's going to happen, but I'm not for sure. Just a prediction.
It'd be nice to see Sami Zayn win the championship, but I feel for him to win it at Survivor Series, while it'd be cool, it's like there's no heat behind it, because there's been no interaction, no interplay between Sami Zayn and The Miz, at least not in the last couple of months. And I'm not saying you have to have a feud to make a championship change worthwhile, but it helps. And I think to have The Miz win the championship back and then to hot potato to Sami Zayn so soon, to me, is a little premature.
Well, right, but I mean, talking about premature, do you think it was good to take the belt off The Miz or off the Ziggler right away? I thought that was very premature after this whole build-up retirement story.
Right, I was talking about that in Who Wore It Better this week. It seems kind of weird that they would have this big payoff that they had at No Mercy and then just kind of have it ending on SmackDown a few weeks later. Not even more than like a month or two later. It was October when that happened?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So it seems weird that they would take it off him so quickly. So maybe they are going to just hot potato the championship. I don't know. But final thought, who do you think is going to win this match?
Sami Zayn.
Okay, well, I am going to, I think I'm going to go with my gut here and say The Miz retains. All right, moving on to the first of 3 Survivor Series elimination matches. Tag team style. You got the team captains on SmackDown, Heath Slater and Slino, with American Alpha, Breezango, the Hype Bros, and the Usos taking on Team Raw, which is captained by the New Day. You got Enzo and Cass, Cesaro and Sheamus, Anderson and Gallows, and the Shining Stars, who were last-minute replacements for the Golden Truth.
Well, they're not replacements. They actually
they traded the spot. They traded the spot
for a weekend stay at the beautiful. Okay, I'm not going to go there.
We're not going to talk about that ridiculousness. There's so many bodies. To me, it's hard to see. Well, you can say this team wins or that team wins. It's like it really is. It's a coin flip for me, honestly.
When it was 4 teams versus 4, I had more into it than 5 versus 5 team. I'm not sure why. It's almost like we're just adding. At this point, they could literally, from one team, remove the hype bros, and from the other team, remove Shining Stars. And that's what. And you would have had like the more influential teams on.
Well, so you're saying is you think it would be a more coherent story if you made it 4 teams on 4 instead of 5 on 5.
Yeah, and I'm even for 2 teams on 2. I mean, doing 2 separate Survivor Series.
And my whole thing is, I mean, you could have, you know, history shows you could have more than 3 Survivor Series matches. You can have more. So what they're doing is kind of combine. I mean, I think it's kind of the equivalent of WrestleMania, where it's like, let's get everyone on the show, as many people as we can, except maybe for Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, I guess. But let's get everybody else. Let's get everybody else on the show, get as many paydays as possible, and I think that's kind of why they've lumped all these people together. There's no, like, more powerful combination on either side, in my opinion, because each team has strong teams, each team has weak teams. So I would have to say, just on the merit of the fact that it's the New Day and they're the record-setting tag team champions, I would almost bet, and the fact they've been losing a lot and they need to get their heat back, I would almost have Team Raw, captained by the New Day, win the thing overall. That's kind of my guess. But again, it's really, it's kind of a toss-up.
Okay, so now here's my thought and thinking on it. I think it's really going to come down to the club and American Alpha. I think those are 2 teams. I mean, the club, I don't want to say they're booked weak or anything like that.
Well, they're finally getting their groove back, much like Stella, because they have won the last couple weeks. They beat the New Day in Glasgow a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
And then they won in the 8-man on Raw. So it's like they're finally kind of getting their mojo back. Who knows if it's going to last? But I mean, you make a good point. Maybe the club is going to shine, but I think ultimately it's going to come out of the New Day because they're the prominent tag team on that side.
I think American Alpha is that young up-and-coming team. They're really pushing them on SmackDown like crazy. They're getting the pins and all the matches. So I don't know. I just want to go with American Alpha.
Do you think Team SmackDown's going to win?
Yeah, and still that's another thing too. I'm still not sure if it's going to be a single elimination or if one guy loses and one guy from the team's gone, or if it's just because it's going to be eliminations. Obviously, it's not just going to be Team SmackDown or Team Raw.
But, well, yeah, but overall, I mean, so you say Team SmackDown.
Yeah.
I say Team Raw. Women's Survivor Series match. On SmackDown side, you have Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi. On Raw's side, you have Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Nia Jax, and Alicia Fox. This one I am more intrigued about because I think it's fewer people, so I don't have to watch as many bodies. The build-up they did on on SmackDown, I should say, with the 2 teams fighting. Did you watch SmackDown? What did you think about that?
Yeah, I liked the build-up with them coming out, and Team SmackDown reigning over them and them retreating and all that kind of stuff. But is it weird to see Bayley play a heel?
That's the thing. A lot of people were complaining online, like, this doesn't make any sense for Bayley's character. She's the lovable, she likes everyone. Why is she healing on? And, like, I get that, but at the same time, like, as flimsy of an excuse or an argument as it is, it's brand loyalty and you're fighting for brand supremacy. And that's why they're doing it.
I get that, but it should be competitive, not the loyalty, in my opinion. Like, hey, we're just a better competitive bunch, not that I'm going to come out and sneak attack you. I don't know.
That's a good point. You raise a very good point.
Do we want to have anybody boo Bayley at this point?
But, I mean, at the same time, though, does it make any less sense to have AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose on the same team working together? Does it make any less sense to have Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Chris Jericho
but that's how my
together?
thought is. It should be overall. When people are like, "Oh, you're giving away the business," you're telling how it should be. But I'm telling you right now, like, they shouldn't play idiots. They should be just competitive.
Yeah,
that's how it should be.
But I mean, you didn't see Bayley like doing a double suplex with Charlotte on somebody. She was
you saw her get in the ring and give the stomps to the girl, and that was what was weird to me.
That is a good point. I mean, honestly, the only thing I really remember from that segment was Nia Jax just running into the wall and just falling unconscious. That was one of the best parts of the year for me, was just that scene there. Ultimately, my pick for the women, just on the strength of Charlotte and Sasha Banks alone, kind of anchoring the women's division entirely, I'd say, not just on Raw, and like to a lesser extent Becky Lynch, of course, but just like these be the women's that they're really focusing on a lot. And so I would just say, and also to keep the whole momentum of Charlotte going, she's 18 or 19-0 in pay-per-views or something, whatever the number is now. But yeah, I think just on the merit of that and to keep that streak alive, I think Team Raw is going to win, with Charlotte being one of the survivors.
Yeah, I think Team Raw needs to win this, in all honesty. So yeah, I'm going to go with Raw too, man.
Now time for the traditional men's 5-on-5 Survivor Series match. Raw versus SmackDown. On Raw, you have Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Braun going against the team on SmackDown of AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, and Shane McMahon. And don't forget, You can never count out the mascot, James Ellsworth. Any man with 2 hands and no chin has a fighting chance. So.
Looks like the guy got super kicked like repeatedly,
right. He just grew up getting super kicked once a week.
Kali slams in a garage or something. I mean, just over and over.
It's like Japanese foot binding, only with chins. I feel like they've been devoting a lot of time and energy in promoting just how much of a wild card Braun Strowman is going to be. I mean, how much of an impact do you think he's going to have? Do you think he's going to be a finalist?
Honestly,
win?
Yeah. I don't know about win. I think that, and if you watch their interaction they had on Raw. There was no interaction between Bray and Braun, other than really Bray just saying, "I made you."
Right, they had enough of one that makes you think they're going to have some impact there. I don't think Braun is going to lose a fall. I think he's probably going to get DQ'd or counted out or something, which is what they do traditionally.
That's why I think loyalty. He might actually screw. Like in the end,
maybe
or something.
Here's why I don't think Braun is going to do anything to help the Wyatts. Is because with the Wyatts right now on SmackDown, you already have this whole issue of Randy Orton, part of the Wyatts, which that's a big question mark in and of itself. You have Luke Harper there, who's you can tell is not trusting of Randy Orton, and I don't know where that angle is going to go. Probably it's eventually going to leave with Randy Orton, turning his back on Bray Wyatt and becoming face again.
I think that's going to be a Mania match.
That could be, but I mean, as far as this, I think Braun interjecting and helping him out is going to muddle that storyline just a little bit much, in my opinion.
Maybe the Shield and the Wyatts. I know this might sound really weird, but Orton and Braun and him, there's
there could be a spot. There could be some kind of spot that happens where you've got the Shield members and the Wyatt members all in the ring together, and there's a stare down, there's a 5-second pop or whatever. I'm just still kind of not sold on the whole Shane McMahon thing. Honestly, I think the fact that he's in it, to me, it's just like there are other people that are deserving of being in that spot. And like you said, why doesn't Dolph Ziggler just take that place? If Shane McMahon's there, It's like Ziggler's the guy. They hyped him up on SmackDown this week, saying he's been a sole survivor. He was the one who helped unseat the Authority. All the good that shit did. But here's my thing about the predictions of who's going to win this particular match. I've already predicted that Raw is going to win the other two, so I think you can't have a clean sweep either way. So I think SmackDown will win this one. It also has a lot to do with the fact that historically, when you have these Raw versus SmackDown matches, like bragging rights and stuff, historically the nod goes to SmackDown just because of the way that
people look at it.
Right. Yeah. People perceive Raw, including the company, perceive Raw as the stronger show. They dedicate more time and energy into it and star power. So once a year on these inter-brand things, they throw SmackDown a bone and they have SmackDown win. I think that's going to happen on Sunday with the Men's Survivor Series match. I mean, it's like I said, tag team match, anyone's guess. Women's, I'm going to definitively say it's going to go to Raw, but I think with men's, you can say with confidence, at least in my opinion, that SmackDown is going to win.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to go with that. And I would almost like to say AJ Styles is probably going to be the sole survivor for some reason on the team.
But what about James Ellsworth? Do you think he's going to be involved at all in any of the decisions?
Yeah, I think he's going to get involved somehow with Braun. I think there's. I do.
We got to have that rematch, man.
We have to, man.
Rematch of the century. So it's come down to this, Biggs. It's the match that everyone, parentheses, has wanted to see. It's Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, the video game matchup come to life. What do you think about just the whole concept of this match?
Okay, well, first of all, people talk so much shit about the first one, and I guess it was because everybody knew it was an exit for both of them, but I don't give a fuck. I loved it. I liked the match. I thought it was two big behemoths going at it. There was a decisive winner. There was no bullshit finish.
I've always thought that, even before they announced this match was happening, I always thought my dream match is a match between Lesnar and Goldberg in their primes if they were both motivated. That was the biggest problem with that match at 20. Neither of them were motivated because they were both leaving. Everyone knew it, and the writing was on the wall. They didn't care. Right. So I think if it were in some other time in space, I think if they were both motivated, if they were both sticking around, or at least one of them was sticking around, I think it could have been a much better match. And so I'm not saying this match is going to be any better because it's 12 or 13 years after the fact. Everyone's a little older. Goldberg is especially older. He's older than Lesnar. And, he hasn't wrestled a match, really, in a long, long time.
This is like that Sting-Undertaker match.
The Sting-Undertaker match that everyone wants to see, but it's never going to happen. Even if they're both healthy, it would be the dog shits because they're both just so past their prime. Right. But we could talk about that all day. I don't think the match is going to be terrible. It can't be any worse than what WrestleMania 20 was like. So my estimation, I don't know. There's no outside factors for me to think there's going to be some bullshit overbooking like so-and-so is going to run in and this is going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen at all. But, I mean, it's going to be on the two of them by themselves.
I hate to say it, but I truly think that this is another setup for a rubber match at Mania.
Maybe. Well, I mean, what about the rumors that Shane and Brock are going to fight each other?
At Mania?
At Mania.
Oh, well, I mean, that's just a rumor. Maybe that's the case, maybe not. I'm not interested in seeing that. I don't
No.
know why. Just like last,
I don't know who is. For the first time in a long time, I feel this really could go either way. I mean, the status quo could maintain and Brock could win again, or they could really just pull something crazy out of their ass and Goldberg could win. That would be, I think, it'd be a cool moment.
Yeah, I think it would too. I mean, I would be lying if, as a wrestling fan, I think most of you out there, you too probably felt a little bit of a hair stand up when everybody was doing the Goldberg chants his first night back. I know they did their best to kill it the next week in Minneapolis, but the bottom line is that it's still, even just when it shows, you know, last night, or I'm sorry, on Raw Monday, you could see that, you know, the fans were behind Goldberg in this feud. So to me, it's just, and with his family being involved and his little kid's going to be at ringside.
Yeah, you're right. It would be very foolish for them to bring up the family issues and then have Goldberg not properly defend their honor.
Right, absolutely.
I think that would be very weak booking to have Lesnar and Heyman win the day for being boys. Be a star is all I'm saying.
Right.
Final thoughts. Who do you think is going to win this match?
I'm going to go with Goldberg.
Okay. My heart is telling me Goldberg, but my mind is saying Lesnar. So I'm of two opinions on the matter. I'm going to say Goldberg wins. That's my thought on it. So those are our thoughts and predictions on Survivor Series happening in just a couple days from now. What do you think's going to happen? Who do you think's going to win the big battles between Raw and SmackDown? Goldberg, Brock, the singles championship situations? Let us know in the comments section below. So until then, be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it. Comment below, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com. Don't worry, this is going to become available, the red version, someday soon, but I'll tell you when. So for J Biggs, old egghead over here, I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.